Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about saddling over and being a junior. So let's get into it. So the question in question today was a bit of a story, but it went something like, Frederick, I'm going to graduate fairly soon, and I've taken an internship at a small company where I've done Node.js development, and it's scared me a lot because the code was absolutely horrible, and I feel like this is not for me, and I'm really interested in learning real enterprise level development with a language such as Java and Spring. But now I feel like I've invested all this time into learning Node, and I can't afford to not get a job. What should I do? Should I just take a JavaScript job and then learn Spring Boot and Java on the side, or how should I do this? And the short answer is, I think that you should consider all your options. That's what I think that you should do. So let me explain that. The thing that I took away from this question was that, at least from my perspective, it seems that there's something lacking in this person's mind. And that is a very, for me, obvious option. If you have existing JavaScript knowledge, such as with Node and TypeScript, and I think it was React or Angular or something like that this person had, and your desire is to be really good at something like Spring Boot and Java and so forth, why, and let's just say for the sake of argument here that, yeah, you are scared that you're not going to get a job doing Java because you have no prior experience and you're a fresh graduate and all of this good stuff. That makes it so complicated to get that first job. Let's say that this is your situation. Well, for me, I'm wondering why you would limit yourself to this statement. Should I only try to get a JavaScript job? Like, should I focus on trying to do that and then learn Spring and Java in my spare time? Why not do both? Why not try to apply for both jobs where you use Java and Spring and Node? Is it because you're afraid that you will get rejected because you have no prior experience? Because this is what I wrote back to this subscriber. I said, well, yes, I think it's a good idea for you to, if you're interested in Spring and you're interested in Java, well, sure, invest in your spare time. That's definitely something that you should do. You should almost, I would say, on average as a junior developer, expect to have to make an investment outside of work hours if you want to have a good chance of making it in and staying in the industry. That's something that you should kind of expect. So if you already now feel that this early in your career that, no, JavaScript, that's not really my thing, I want to do back-end work, or I want to do Java or Spring or something like that, then this is a perfect opportunity for you. Because if you're already a junior developer, well, the expectation is that you should be fairly fresh. Now, that's a bad thing and a good thing in this scenario, because if I'm hiring somebody who is a junior developer, well, then I'm going to expect you to be at a lower experience level than pretty much all of the mid-levels and the seniors and so forth. And this is a really good thing for you if you can manage to get a job as a Java developer, because you're not going to be expected to produce all that much. But let's flip that and say that, let's say that you spend all your time in JavaScript land, and then you want to go over and do Java development. Well, then, yeah, sure, if you've been eating your vegetables and made sure that you've studied diligently, you should be able to make that transition, but it might be harder. I've seen some senior developers who've not been able to go outside of one specific company because they've literally been so focused on the thing that they were doing that they pretty much got useless at doing all the other stuff, or rather they were unable to meet the expectations when they transitioned to a new language. And this happens, guys. It does happen that developers get so invested in a specific workflow that they can't transition into another workflow where they can't switch languages. Switching languages is hard. It is not fun sometimes, because you're going to have to deal with a lot, well, not exactly the same, but a lot of the same frustration that you had to deal with when you were a junior developer starting on your first language. You're going to have to look things up again and do all this bad stuff, and you don't know how to do things effectively. I've worked with a senior developer, I would say, a fairly experienced senior developer who quit at my last job. He used to be a Java developer, and he was really, really good at Java. And he was working for a few months until he finally just one day up and said, you know what, no, I feel like I can't deal with this anymore, because the language we're using here, I can't get it to, like, I'm just frustrated all the time. I can't get it to work, and I really feel, I think his words were, I feel like I need to work at in an environment where I feel that I know what's going on, because I don't want to spend all this time trying to learn all of this stuff that we're dealing with. So he quit. He went back to do Java development, even though he had tried to transition. He couldn't make the switch. For you as a junior developer, you probably don't have this problem right now. This is a perfect, so I think that's a great, look at this as a great insight. You have potentially made it much easier for you to start doing the thing that you actually enjoy doing. So when you're in that situation where you're going to look for a job, as this person was saying, if you can't afford not to have a job, well, then you have to apply for everything. At least in my personal opinion, because you have two legs to stand on. All right, so you have some previous JavaScript experience. Sure, that means that you are more experienced in JavaScript, and that's going to help you if you apply for a JavaScript role. But since JavaScript is, let's just remember, used in pretty much all web development, it might actually help you in the Spring and Java situation as well, because even though it's not the same language, it's still a language that is relevant for web development. Maybe not as much as you would like to, but it is relevant. And you have a second leg to stand on when it comes to applying for Java jobs, and that is that you have genuine interest, my friend. You have genuine interest, and that is underappreciated. It's not going to be the thing that wins you the job just in general. It's the same, but it's going to matter. It's going to factor in. Genuine interest, guys, if you can effectively communicate that to the people doing the hiring, that you are really enthusiastic about something or some tool that they are using, they're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to see what you're so excited about, because when you're hiring a junior developer, one of the most important things is that that person is enthusiastic and passionate and willing to learn. Because as I was saying, nobody hires a junior developer because they expect you to be like this master of code. They are hiring you one part based on how much they think that they're going to have to train you, and the second part on how likely are you to be really, really like a positive energy within the company, or how likely are you to learn really quickly and be enthusiastic and really suck up all of this information that they are going to give you in training. This matters. Passion and interest is such a big factor when you're dealing with a junior developer. Some companies hire you almost exclusively on how they feel about you. How good are you at communicating your passion for this thing that you're now going to have to learn? Because the worst thing is that if you hire a junior developer who doesn't want to learn. And in my scenario, we hired a senior developer who actually didn't want to learn either, so he quit. Passion does matter. So what I want you to take away from this, to take away, is that if you're in a situation such as this subscriber, where you've bet on one language and now you realize that you want to bet on another language, well, don't limit yourself just because you feel like, oh, I have this experience, I shouldn't apply for jobs in this language. Don't limit that don't put that limitation on yourself. If you are genuinely interested in trying another language, just go for it. Like, you can apply to both roles. You can apply to both the JavaScript role if you're desperate, like if in this scenario it's really important for the subscriber to get the job. So if you're desperate, just apply for everything that's really interesting to you. Because even if you're not a master of that language, that doesn't matter all that much. If you're a senior developer and you have worked in something like, I don't know, C#, and you want to switch over to Java, most people will just see like, oh, that's a no-brainer because they are so similar. But even if you're switching to something less similar, most companies will just look at, oh, this is a developer, we can, and some of them will just go, well, okay, they don't know this language, but they have this language, and yeah, we can probably work with that. We can probably do something with that. It's not it's not, you're not going to be excluded just because you don't have prior experience in exactly that language. That's not as important as that you have coding skills and that you have the ability to adopt this language. And that's something that you should always carry with you. Passion and genuine interest does factor in, guys. Keep that with you and don't limit yourself. Apply to jobs that seem interesting to you, and the worst thing that can happen is that you get a no. And then you continue your learning outside of this process, so that you're always learning something, you're always progressing your skills, and at some point you're going to get that yes. Have a great day.